What's up, Go enthusiasts? Just last night, or in the day in China, the first round of the Chunlan Cup World Championship was played. It's the round of 24. Alex Chi was the North American representative. He drew Ichiriki, the many-time title winner in Japan. Very, very strong young player. But Alex is younger, and he's growing fast. Let's see how he can play against one of Japan's very, very strongest players. Alex, of course, the North American One-Dan Pro. He plays a relatively solid style, and he plays an opening here, which I actually covered in my most popular video of all time. He plays this attachment with the upper left Joseki and the bottom left Joseki together. It forms a sort of whole board pattern where the game kind of has to go as it does in the game, like all the way through here. This is super common, this whole variation. And I actually covered it already in the commentary between Park Shing-wan and Gu Zhihao, where this was the move that was played. So maybe Alex watched my commentary and then learned, and he's playing like that against Ichiriki. He figured out the Fuseki, and he's like, all right, let's go. Maybe. In the game, he plays this move. So Ichiriki plays this bamboo. It's a very aggressive move. It's a little early. It's a little thick. And Alex playing this wedge is exactly the AI recommended response that I mentioned in my video. maybe he watched it. Maybe. But I think he didn't. And here's the tell. In that game between Park Shing-wan and Gu Zhihao, Park Shing-wan made a direction mistake. He went to the top side when he could have controlled the fight around the 4 stones on the bottom side. And what did Alex do in this game? He made Park Shing-wan's mistake. No! If only Alex had watched more carefully the Telegraph Go content. No! Ah. I detailed this in that video. I'll link to it in the corner here. Why this is wrong in comparison to the center, but you can see when white gets the jump here, it means basically that he doesn't have to worry about his cutting point and that black has to worry about his 4 stones. So black continues to run out like this, but white is already like more free, more wide, more happy than he would have been. Actually, if Alex had played here, frankly, Ichiriki would have been behind in this Fuseki. When you let the opponent get this wedge, it means that this black group on the left side saves itself really, really easily. And if white has to fix this cutting point somehow, it's going to be really awkward. Even after this, black could even play this one and harass this white cutting point again. It's like if white plays here and black plays here, black shape is really beautiful. I mean, this white shape is not fun. Not fun to play with at all. And black is out, and black can attack this, and it's fantastic. You don't have to worry about the top side, guys. Everyone plays on the top side. You don't have to worry about it. But Alex worried about it, and then this happened, and he has to run his 4 stones now. Of course, the game is still like even, because Alex played that wedge in the first place. So, I mean, he's been doing well in the opening. It's just he didn't play exactly as Telegraph would recommend. And then we have this Joseki on the bottom side. So this is pretty common, and Alex played this Hane. Another common move here is to just accept by playing extending all the time. But if he would do this, then he thought he was going to get in trouble with his 5 stones on the bottom side there. He thought, okay, I can be greedy for that, but there's no need to emphasize on that so much when I have to worry about my 5 stones eventually. So he plays this Hane, and he tries to do a more dynamic fight, where he's taking care of his stones at the same time as he can take care of the outside and take care of the bottom white. It's much more aggressive, and I think it suits his style a lot better to play this Hane than the extend. So I'm happy to see this move. And this cut, I think Alex is not one to normally do this kind of thing, but in this game, he did it. He played Hane and cut here. This is very, very aggressive, very direct stuff. I think it's really good as well. I think Alex is, he's getting better. He used to not do this kind of thing very much, even if it could be good, because it just doesn't feel gentlemanly. Alex likes to play a gentlemanly game. And yeah, you don't have to be gentlemanly when you're trying to beat your opponent, of course. So in this case, by playing this cut, Alex is posing a credible threat to the white group on the bottom and a threat in the center. And it's kind of awkward. How should white be like fixing all these things? In the game, he chose to Atari like this, so that covers his bottom side pretty well, and then he can do something in the center. But if you would just like extend normally in the center, it's not that brilliant. Like, it feels like black is going to get a comfortable shape over here, and then there's nothing special that will happen. So what Ichiriki tries to do is he tries to do something fancy. He tries to Atari here and then attach like this. So what he's saying is, you definitely cannot block because I could capture these two stones like so. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna you can exchange this push, but you're gonna turn here, and then this cut was timed so that black would have to extend instead of capturing. So he knew already, Ichiriki already knew he was going to attach here, but this cut was a good exchange beforehand, because if you would try to pull that off later, black could capture instead of extending, of course. So this was planned out by Ichiriki, obviously, and then he thought he's going to push through here. But Alex was happy to push and then extend. This is asking for Wait to just push through, to split black. But Wait can't do that, because black could cut here, and then Wait has so many weaknesses everywhere. Wait would have to somehow take care of his group on the right side and his stuff in the center, and Wait would definitely be overplaying. I mean, this Atari is not enough to pay for what Wei has to suffer now on the bottom side. This is very, very painful shape. Even many things could happen here. So Wei knew that as well, and he connected on the bottom side. He just took care of his bottom side territory, made sure to fix his cuts, and then black could fix his cuts. So this was really well calculated by Alex. He challenged Ichiriki, hey, you can come in, you can come after my weaknesses. He made a lot of them, and he played this Hane cut variation. He made a lot of his own weaknesses. He said, go ahead, try and fight me. And Ichiriki couldn't at any moment. And so what happened in the end was that black managed to get this huge influence towards the upper right side of the board. And it's actually a good variation for black. Black has, I don't even know where white made a mistake, but black has a good position. This was really well done by Alex. And the only problem left is, what is he doing with these 4 stones? Because if he would just connect this cutting point, then Wei could Hane like this, and they'd be cut off. And if he would just Tiger, then Wei could Atari and cut, and they'd be cut off. Again, same way. If he plays here, there's this cutting point. That's super annoying. So what he did is he played this one, and he tried to mostly fix this cutting point by relying on the white weaknesses as well. The white weaknesses in the center are his resource that he's using to try to fix his shape in the left side. However, Wait did something pretty clever here. He pushed and cut here. So what it means is the correct way for black to play is to capture. This is pretty easy, that you should generally capture your opponent's cutting stone on the second line. But what Wei has done is he's given himself an additional resource to Atari and capture these 2 stones. So that means black's resources in the center are severely decreased, as these white stones got a second way to save themselves, right? Now, the good news for Alex is that locally on the left side, black has no chance of being attacked anymore. And this group was still a little bit weak, so you can argue he gained a little bit from that. But he's going to have a difficult situation in the center to pay for that. But first, before Ichiriki does that, he plays this move. This was a really sharp move, and a really, really interesting one, actually. This one, Alex just responded on the side, so trying not to get squeezed. But he could have responded like this. This ladder seems to work, right? So intuitively, you'd be like, well, I just laddered him. How can this be bad? But Alex saw one step further. This is the reason why he didn't play this, is he knew that White had this move. This cut is a great move by Ichiriki. This is why he played that attachment. He was preparing this cut. He was preparing to use black's shortage liberties in combination with the broken ladder. So if black now connects, White can extend like so, and black can't ladder the stones anymore. White is going to be able to save something. I mean, I don't know exactly how this is going to go, but let's say it's like this. This is a relatively standard variation. White will easily save to the side. He can, of course, cut first and do this more efficiently. It feels like black is not doing that well. If you had to answer here, if you had to let White get a group here. But the AI seems to think that this is playable. And more than that, AI seems to think all the other variations are playable too. But this is just so hard. So basically at this moment, black could also have captured here, then allowing this white double Atari. This looks like this is a failed variation for black. I think Alex probably saw this and thought, oh, not working. But AI says you connect here, you let white capture like this, and then this is fine. In fact, it's more than fine. It's good for black. Black can fix this again in on the left side of the center, even though black has now no control over the right side, which is where his moyo used to be. Apparently, this is okay. Because black got an additional move here, he got a little bit more strength in the center itself. This is really hard to play. This is just... Both of those variations are very difficult to judge as good for black. So that's why Alex just responded here. He didn't go for those trades, which looked like white was making like some kind of success. But actually, it was this one, which is the success for white, where black had to respond a couple times in the bottom right corner, and then white's power with these 3 stones, white has some chance to do something on the right side now. So that's exactly where black was trying to build. If white gets more resources to deny that area for black, it's going to be pretty hard to play the game. White continued with this peep, kind of a strange timing, and black just answered, obviously. And then white cut here. So this is white putting pressure on those 5 stones on the left side, trying to say, hey, black, can you really save them? And black said, no, I can't. You can go ahead and capture them, and he played away like this. He had other options here. He had many other options here. The AI recommended move is to try to save them like this. To me, though, I can't even do this. Even if AI says it's the best, I still won't play it. I will still prefer to play Alex's Atari, because white is going to run out like this, and then you have to save these stones forever. So you're going to do stuff like Atari here, and then white should fix somehow. Let's say white fixes with this connect. That looks like a powerful move. Then we should be saving. We should be running out our stones. We have to make sure that we run out with something like this. And then white can play this turn. I mean, if you didn't run out and you didn't continue handling this group, then it didn't make any sense to save it, right? But white gets all these forcing moves, and then eventually they play this net. And I don't think black can easily run. I think black is dead. So AI still goes down this like whole line, and it thinks, oh, black is fine. But from now, it's like, I think AI recommended you just jump, you let white finish that Aji, and then white captured your group, which was the influence, and you just keep playing the game as black. Like, what? Yeah, I can understand if I like have to count this board and positionally judge that this is good, then I think I could do it. But it makes a lot of sense to me that Alex looked at this position and was like, you know, maybe not. Maybe I will choose not to die. So if you run out here, you're going to have to pay for your other weaknesses on the board. It makes a lot of sense that Alex chose not to do that and instead to sacrifice. So this was a planned sacrifice. He said, okay, wait, you can take the entire bottom left side of the board. I mean, this is a really, really big territory now. That, all of this is white territory, right? That's a lot of white territory. And to match it, black just has some, solid positions throughout the rest of the board, and then this potential influence on the right side. But this is playable, honestly. Like that white, that white area is really big, but it is the only area that white has. The problem was the execution after this. So Alex played here, but it was a mistake. And white's connecting here was actually a punishment. So the point is, if Alex had just exchanged this cut and then gone back to do his own thing, white doesn't have as good of a move locally on the left side. When white played this connecting move, not only does it fix all the weaknesses, so this white is very strong now on the left center, but it additionally gives white like some power against that one stone at J10, and better movement in general into the center. So if black had denied that and played here, there was a lot of potential for him to do more things, even if it was just like to Atari and to intimidate this cutting point later. That's already like a significantly increased position. Of course, when white plays here, white's movement to the center is nowhere near as strong, so you don't have to be afraid of this kind of thing in comparison to the connect. This shape, white is just smaller and has less movement, right? So it's just not as scary at all. And additionally, if black gets this Atari and then black is the next one to play locally, there's even resources like this and pushing through here, probably we should exchange this before we push through here. And then, okay, white could try to play a ko right away, but probably he should exchange this Atari to prevent this black Atari, and then play this ko. And eventually we're probably going to get something like this, where all these moves are black sente. So you can see black could get a like nice squeeze from the left side. He still has a peep to use that cutting point in the center later, potentially. And white's movement, even in this variation, is just not as good to the center. I mean, even compared to the game, right? With just this one stone, it helps him go to the center so much faster. And of course, in this one, black has significantly less potential on the left side. So a little bit of a misjudgment with respect to that cut. It's very hard to believe that playing a forcing move is necessary when you play Alex's style of Go. He wants to hold every weakness for the maximum value that he possibly can. So he's thinking like, hey, maybe later I can play this wedge instead, where if white answers, then I have a double Atari, and so then I can put white under serious pressure. If they connect here, I can try to extend and I can try to pressure these stones on the left. That's his dream, right? He wants to hold out to the Aji. He doesn't want to commit to cutting here right away, but it wasn't effective when white got to punish him by playing this connect. After that, Alex's position is already a little bit bad, so white has already started to take a lead, but it's still playable if he can play this kind of Muyo style well. So he has to set up a massive box on the right side here, and somehow, if he could get like an efficient amount of this, like more than he's expected to get, then he can bring the game back to even and he can maybe try to win as well. What he does is just the most natural move, which is to say, I have an open corner over there, so let me fix my open corner. You can't 3-3 me anymore, and I'm going to challenge you. How are you going to come in and invade? The problem was, it was not that hard to come in and invade, actually, because white had made these 3 stones as exchanges earlier. White could use those as his resource in order to try to save his group on the right side. So what he does is he attached here. And if black attacks this really hard, white is going to eventually be able to use these stones to help gain his space. So what black did is he tried to attack it from this side. If white hadn't made these exchanges, this would look very silly. But on this board, it makes sense because black is trying to deny white from connecting back to those stones. I mean, if this one had happened, it's not like white would connect back right away. He would play here. But then black really doesn't want white to just naturally use these stones to help himself make life. I don't know if it's going to be like extend here or what, but this doesn't look promising for black at all. So he tried this way instead. And then white extended, and black was super annoyed. Again, black probably should be playing in the center, but in the game, he played here to be like, hey, you cannot connect back to those stones and re-attack my center, and like, that would suck. The problem is this way that black has played, he was forced to just block these 3 stones a couple times, then white could get more power to the right side, and all he has to do now is save something. So he plays this Hane, and then he plays this move, trying to set up a really, really huge base on the right. He's hoping that black would just respond like this, and then he could get this move. That would be, I mean, this is game over. So instead, Alex plays the aggressive move like this. But to be honest, the aggression is almost too late. It's kind of like Alex missed his chance with these moves. He had to play something like this, something more aggressive. He had to play something like this, something even you could play this one now if you wanted to be really, really aggressive and allow white into that area and just try to set up a new area on the top side. Somehow I can be efficient. This way, Alex was trying to be as aggressive as he could, but he had to deny these resources. Eventually, white managed to set up this very nice shape on the upper right corner. That's really annoying. Black can't really limit this group. This group already has moved enough to take his 2 eyes. He just tries to push down, get white to answer, and then he can turn and he can cause white to have some liberty issues, but white exchanges this one. So of course, if it goes like this, there's often later there's going to be some cut, there's going to be some resource that you have against this shape. This shape is kind of thin. So white tried to get more. He tried to push one time, get a little bit more power in the corner, and then come back to connect, and Alex let him. I think this was a mistake as well. Alex could have played like this, allowing White to run somehow to the top side. But if you can claim that all of this is yours, that's not really true. So you can gain if they give it to you, right? So I think this would have been a way to keep more pressure on White, and you could continue to attack here and try to take this whole thing, take the top side and reverse the game somehow. This way it felt too passive. It felt like there's not really a way after you play that one to easily reverse the game. White is going to just save this one, and Black is trying to say, hey, I can get the whole outside, but of course White can focus on saving this one as well. And since White has more resources in the upper right corner because he managed to connect, it's going to be easier compared to that other variation where Black descended. If Black descended, then he would have more power here. But this way, White played this attach. Black had to like prevent White from linking up, or else it would be too easy for White. And so he plays this whole variation. And Alex is now in a position, because all the other ways would be too easy, he's in a position where he has to attack this really hard, because that's the only thing that he's said is his way to come back is to get huge attack on this. So he plays this eye-stealing move, this very, very aggressive move at 105. This is saying, hey, you cannot live locally. So you have to run, you have to play from the center, you have to get something from this group, but you cannot live. And this is a very, very aggressive way to play, but it's basically the only way to imagine coming back in this game. You can't be passive once you're down, and you keep going down further. So White played this attachment actually, and then Black extended and White connected here. So what White was thinking was, I'm going to sacrifice that group on the right side, and I'm going to try to control the center instead, which was a good idea in general. But his execution wasn't exactly the cleanest, if I can be a little critical of Ichiriki here. He continued to disconnect, and then Black had to run. So this becomes sort of a fight between this White group in the center and the Black group in the center. It seemed like the fight is kind of playable for Alex. It seemed like he could keep playing the game, basically. I would rather have seen this move. I don't honestly know why Ichiriki didn't play this move. It looks really powerful. This is just kind of a net. And if Black breaks through, he actually can break through. He can break through like this cut and capture these stones. Then if White just connects, then Black will feel liberties. And eventually capture like that. And so he captures the right side, he saves his stones. But this, obviously, when White gets this kind of an outside shape, is too good for White. I mean, White already lived here, Black only got this much from his Moyo, and then White is even getting something at the same time. This game would be like super over. But Ichiriki didn't do that. And he even had other ways to play. It just seems like this one is much more powerful and easy to win the game with. Instead, he gets this position. So this is one where it's like actually a fight, where White has a weak group here, Black has a weak group on the bottom side. And Black is going to hope that he can reverse this fight with some kind of crazy, like, I kill all of the White group's plan, where even though White can capture those two stones, that doesn't mean he's locally alive. So Alex is trying his best to exploit this very small vulnerability that Ichiriki left by not playing the sort of patient and trading idea move, but instead playing the most aggressive way. And so there's a little bit more fighting to go in this game. Alex has to play here to make sure that Ichiriki is locally dead, and then cut, and then like this. And this White group cannot live locally from here. And it looks like Black's outside is relatively powerful, right? It looks like this might even work for Alex. But alas in the game, the particular shape that he chose, eventually White managed to find this diagonal and attach combination. This is good, but this is the moment where Alex had to resign. There were other ways for White to do this, but the main reason why Alex had to resign, the way that he was trying to fight here, he thought his group on the right side should be his permanent strength, so he should basically push White towards this strength. That's what he was doing the whole time, is he was trying to play from the center, make sure his center is powerful enough, because this was where he had a weak group, and then the right side was where he had a strong group. So he just pushed White towards the right side, towards the right side, towards the right side. And then eventually here, the reason why he resigned at this moment is that he realized, wait, hang on a second, this right side is not permanent strength, it was just strong at the moment. So if he plays the most powerful move on the top side, which I think is this extend, to try to kill this. White could just play a jump down, and even though black tries to stop white from living here, this move is white's sente, this move is going to be white's forcing move, and if black answers here, then this move is also white's forcing move. And you can see this is going to become a capture race now between it's going to become a capture race between the black group on the right side and the white group in the center. But the white group already has one eye. It has so many liberties outside. This is only ever going to be a seki at best for black. If black does well, it's going to be a seki. And so white managed to save himself by threatening both an eye on the top side and a capture race against this right side group. Very aware by Ichiriki, nicely done. It was a good try by Alex. I think this game was really quite a good game. Alex, as a thick player, he tends to get positions with like a lot of influence pretty often, but normally they aren't positions with a lot of influence where you have to like proceed to get extras, and particularly a lot of influence, but your opponent has a weapon, and then you also need to proceed to get extra. I think Alex will learn from this game. I think this one is an instructive one for him, and I look forward to seeing him and Ryan playing in the next two World Championships, the Chujalanki Cup and the In Cup, soon. So that's it for North America in the Chunlan Cup, but it's not it for us in Go. Of course, if you want to learn Go more, you can go to Go Magic. I think they have a great YouTube channel, a great website, and anything that you want to buy from them, you can use the code Telegraph for 10% off. Thank you. See you again.